All right, let's take a look at this question right here. What are the advantages of composite fish culture? Now, before we can even jump into the advantages, we've got to make sure we're all on the same page about what composite fish culture actually is. So let's break that down first.
So what is this fancy term? Composite fish culture is, quite simply, the practice of culturing 5 or 6 different fish species together in a single fish pond. You know, in plain English, it just means you're raising several different types of fish, usually 5 or 6, all together in the very same pond. This is a really important definition, by the way, so it's a good one to lock in for your exams.
But that kind of begs the question, right? Why do we even need to do this? Why not just raise one type of fish at a time? I mean, what's wrong with that? Why does a single species system fall short?
Well, here's the issue. In any pond, you've got food everywhere, at different levels. There's food floating on the surface, some stuff in the middle, and a whole lot of nutrients down at the bottom. Now, if you only have one type of fish in there, which is called monoculture, it's probably only going to eat from one of those zones. That means all the food at the other levels remains completely unutilized. It just goes to waste.
So, the solution is to think of it like building a team effort. You select different fish species that are going to work together. But how do you pick the right players for this team? How are they chosen? Let's take a look. The whole idea, the main principle, is actually pretty genius. The fish are chosen specifically because they have different food habits. The number one rule is to make sure they do not compete for food. See, the pond has these 3 main layers: the surface zone, the middle zone, and the bottom zone.
And here's our fish team lineup. Check this out. You've got the catlefish, which hangs out at the surface eating zooplankton. Then you have rohu, which patrols the middle zone, munching on phytoplankton. And then you've got the cleanup crew, like mriggle and common carp, who are bottom feeders. It's a perfectly balanced team where every single member has its own job and stays in its own lane.
So this brings us to the most important takeaway, the key principle of the whole system. All food sources in the pond are utilized because there is no competition among the selected species. See? The food gets used up because the fish aren't fighting over it. It's all about cooperation, not competition.
So now we can finally get back to our original question. We have this amazing, clever team of fish working together. What's the result? What are the actual advantages of doing all this? Well, the first huge advantage is complete food utilization. Because you have fish feeding at every single level of the pond, every bit of available food gets eaten. From the phytoplankton on top to the detritus on the bottom, nothing goes to waste. It's an incredibly efficient system.
And what happens when you use all your resources so perfectly? You get the second big advantage, an increased fish yield. Naturally, when you're using all the food and growing multiple species at once, the total amount of fish you can harvest from that one pond goes up dramatically.
And I'm not just talking about a little increase. We are talking about a massive jump. With composite fish culture, you can get 5 to 6 times more fish from the same area compared to growing just one species. 5 to 6 times. That's a huge difference. And of course, that incredible yield leads directly to our third major advantage, the economic benefit. When farmers can produce so much more fish from the exact same pond, their income goes way up. It's a game changer for them, making fish farming much more profitable.
We hope आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगा होगा और क्वेश्चन से रिलेटेड कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्रिस्टल क्लियर हो गए होंगे. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, tata, bye bye.